All right, folks. So for today's Champs Club, we're going to be having the man who literally needs no introduction because of how spectacular he is, Brad Ramos, a senior branch manager who has accomplished many push trophies as well as gone on many trips. He's going to be giving you guys the goods on how to share goals with your customers. So without further ado, take it away, Mr. Brad Ramos.
Cool. Thank you for that day. And yeah, definitely want to help you or just guide and direct you to what kind of goals you should make. Maybe not so much definitely to share with your customer, but for yourself as well. So what are some reasons for you to go hard, go big for this push period? And like Carson mentioned before, by raise of hands, we've all done a push before. So it is nothing new. But what makes this one different? Is it the same reasons to go hard for this push as it is for others? I mean, at times, yeah, but what's different? So what are some reasons that you want to go big for this push period? I mean, love the audience that we have here. Jasmine in the car, loving the Caroline and Sid picture. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, do you want a promotion? Do you want to save some money to open up an office, to maybe go DM or run a branch office? I know, not from previous experience, but well, kind of that as well, that you don't need as much money now as you did before, but you still want to have a lot of money in place to go branch or go DM. So with that, is that something you want to do? Do you want to have that promotion? There aren't as many expenses, being a DOM or pilot sales manager, but do you want a promotion with that? I mean, what is it for you? Or is it being an AM, setting an example in your office, organization, whatever it may be for you, to get that next promotion, AMIT, AM, branch, senior branch, whatever it may be for you. And so it's just setting a great example in front of the CEO. The CEO of the company, the CEOs of the company are going to be there. I mean, I knew I was going to only, and I'm super stoked, but I probably still to this day, probably still take it for granted. Meeting Jim Stitt, like that is incredible. When I go there and telling him my experiences and hopefully having him at a dinner table with me at the old library and having conversations with him and maybe even going back to Olean. And from now till this time next year, what's going to change and be able to have him remember my name, having him see me on the reports, but him knowing that my name and seeing me on the reports. I mean, what can that do for you? I mean, in the long-term game, if you see yourself in the long term here, I mean, what does that do for you? And then is there a specific treat that you want for yourself? Is it a trip, a new suit, new shoes? I mean, when I think about myself, I want to up my shoe game, up my suit game. I mean, what is it for you? I want to go on a trip as well. I mean, we have this New York trip. We have, the Mexico trip as well. And, that for some of you, there's that. But maybe just treating yourself. Maybe it's a road trip. Maybe it's going to a state, a country you haven't been to quite yet. Treat yourself. Have you, with your manager, made a plan with the sales you'll need, the amount of income you will make, and what you're going to spend with that money? Because it's definitely great to know where that money's going. So a push at times can be seen as an excuse for you to go give it your all. And what does it stand for? Persist until something happens. And day 2, day 3, nothing happened quite far. I mean, a couple people may have gotten some sales, whatever it may be, but find some reasons for you to hit your goal. And like I was saying earlier, share it to your customer. But like Carson mentioned, share it to absolutely everyone. Because I think about when you're on the plane, that's still part of the push as well. Maybe you get a sale. Maybe you're wearing your Cutco hoodie, your Western region hoodie, and they say, oh, that's pretty cool, Cutco. And you get a sale on the last day or second to last day of push. That's pretty sick right there. So find reasons to hit your goal and see as an excuse to go big and go hard. Because if you fight for your excuses, you get to keep them. I think I might have heard that from Jeremy Farr. But think about that. A good excuse, a bad excuse. If it's a lousy excuse, you're going to stay lousy if you let yourself fight for it and keep it. But if you find an excuse for you to go big, go hard for this push period, you're going to keep that. You'll be consistent and you'll go through with it. And that fires me up. So, like I was saying, you need systems in place, a plan, a goal. Definitely want to talk about this with your manager, because if they're not going to Olean, then they've been there and they're pros, they're vets, they're experienced with that. So you want to ask them about, hey, well, not only the push, but hey, like what's the game plan? For someone like me going to there, like Adea was saying, being a senior branch manager, what are the things I should be doing? Things that I should be asking, the people I should be talking to from other divisions, other people from CEOs. So talk to your managers that have been there and say like, hey, what should I do to really set myself up for success there? Because I still, like, to this day, like, don't want to take it for granted, but there's people like, I think of Kaleo Salazar, top 5 DM in his category, going Olean for the first time. And so am I. So I don't take that lightly. I don't take it with a grain of salt. I am going to be there and represent, my office, Newport Beach, represent my division, the Southland division, and then the Western region as well. So there's people that started this summer, people that started years ago that are going. So that is exciting. So with that as well, definitely want to talk to managers that have been there, or maybe not have been there, but they know people who have. So help you prepare for sure. And so with that, motivation for the push, motivation isn't real. It comes, it goes, but what really help you stay with your consistency with your goals is discipline. So what are the little things like the environment that you put yourself in, mentally, physically? What are they? What I think about with that is being in the Anaheim pilot office during SC1, SC2 push period, and there's literally signs and signs of, you got this, Mrs. Jones is waiting for you to call, things like that. I love being able to see that there's signs everywhere, colorful. Are there signs in your house with things that are going to motivate you to, go good for this push period? If your goals are not printed out and all over your house, all over your room, what are you doing? I think about, Jeremy Blau, his phenomenal Ole message. Every single goal that he has written down, the 10s, 20s, 100 goals that he has, they're printed up. They're in his car, in his mirror, in his room. That fires me up. Is I think about with Anthony, my DM, talked about how pivotal it was for him with Olean, going big for this push period, meeting people outside his division that he still connects with to this day. And then I think about with Jeremy as well. I haven't personally talked to him about it. I definitely would love to. Definitely should get him as a speaker here, day. Would love for him to speak here as well. But just from his video that he shared, this was really pivotal. He was a sales manager. He was me. Now, him, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years ago. And he was literally wrote down, I'm going to be a Dom, force Evan to make me Dom. For me, forcing Anthony to make me Dom. That fires me up. And then, saving money to go DM. He was going on a trip, getting new shoes, all these sort of things. And he was a vet who's experienced with that. So he knew what he was getting himself into. And he knew with that as well, that someone like a Jim Stick, who we met before, he wanted to get that trophy in front of absolutely everyone and have great conversations with that person. So that is super exciting to me as well. And then if you haven't heard this yet, you're about to hear it. No fatigue is felt on the day of victory. So when you are on the bus ride, on the plane ride to Buffalo, to Olean, sleeping on the bus, whatever it may be, you're not going to be fatigued because you have gone hard for that. And like Jared said before, no one has ever said, I wish I didn't go as hard. But a lot of people have probably said, I wish I went a little bit harder. And who's not going to be here? Are you going to say, I wish I went a little bit harder? Or, you might not have hit your goal, but you'll be content. Knew that you put in the work to really get what you want out of it. Is like in this position with really anything, it's what you get in, what's what you put into it. So if you put in the costs, the demos, the service calls, whatever it may be for you, the email blasts, connecting to past customers, doing events, doing these sort of things. If you do the things necessary, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. The job is definitely not hard. Pretty simple stuff. So when you set a goal, you write it down and say it out loud. That is powerful. That is very powerful. Definitely. I can think of J-Bread giving us some things to print out saying, from now till February. Read this and print it out and read it every single day. I think of that. And I was just watching a video about Christianity, about faith, how it's so much more power and affection when you pray out loud. Same thing here. You manifest it so that your brain processes it and believes it. And same with faith and praying in a peer group, doing with peers, share your goals with others in a group setting, right? Like Dave was saying earlier with let's say an accountability group, have a group text with someone. I think that's exciting. Keeping someone accountable, picking them up, that's pretty cool stuff. And I love how Caroline's message truly, truly resonated with me, that what you do here are like skills for life, that sort of thing. Because if someone likes you and trusts you, they'll find a reason to wait to blank, whether it's buy from you, whether it's get introductions, whether it's whatever it may be. So if someone likes you and trusts you in the business, outside of the business, yeah, shout out to Jasmine with that. Accountability group with Jordan. Love people like Jordan. Going all in. DM. Number 1, 2 DM in the entire company. Once you DM, that's pretty exciting. But yeah, if someone likes you and trusts you in literally any manner, they'll blank from you. They'll buy, get you introductions, whatever it may be, promote you, and be confident. Know what your goals are, because if you don't know what they are, then Mrs. J definitely does not know what they are either. So yeah, I definitely want to share with them. Know what your goals are, because if you don't know, they don't. That's the biggest thing, though. Confidence.
All right, let's go ahead and give those snaps to Brad Ramos, dude. That was phenomenal and fire. I freaking love that. I appreciate you very much, Brad, for firing everyone up on all those awesome goals that anyone here can be reaching for. And that is super fired up to see.